JBN, we keep you informed. Walter's brothers freed in viral gas station shooting, convicted of unrelated attack. Two brothers were freed because of inconclusive video evidence after they were implicated in a brazen 2016 murder at a gas station in Glendavon, St. James, were on Thursday convicted for an unrelated shooting. O'Neill and O'Brien Walters were convicted of shooting with intent and illegal possession of a gun in an incident that occurred on the same day of the gas station shooting. In that incident, a woman identified as Andrea Johnson was shot and injured. Johnson provided a witness statement to the police, but was shot and killed by unknown assailants before the start of the case. "This is great news," said Superintendent Vernon Ellis, the commander of the St. James Police. "While Miss Johnson was not there in person to give evidence because she was killed, we were still able to present a credible case using Section 31D of the Evidence Act, which allows us to use her witness statement. We hope this conviction will send a message to those criminals who believe that if they kill a witness, they'll walk free. Thankfully, between scientific evidence and the Evidence Act, we have the tools to win convictions against them in court," added Ellis. According to the evidence against the brothers, who the police believe to be key players in the Church Lane gang, on the morning of September 22, 2016, the brothers went on a shooting spree in Norwood in which Johnson was shot and injured. Later in the day, the police believe that they were the two men seen in a viral video brutally executing a man at a Glendavon service station. They were also implicated in another shooting incident that same day. While they were found not guilty in the gas station shooting, the shell casing found at all three shooting scenes that day match up. "So we believe they were the perpetrators," said Ellis. "We believe the community and the wider parish will be better off without them." The gas station case fell apart because the surveillance video captured by CCTV on which the prosecution relied was deemed unclear. You have footage that does not show the faces of the persons. Identification is your first hurdle, and if you can't cross that hurdle, what you have is of no value, presiding High Court Judge Justice Sharon George, who tried the case, told the prosecution. St. Catherine mother and daughter were warned they would be killed. Hours before St. Catherine woman and her teen daughter were beheaded, they were warned that there was a plan by persons in the community to kill them. A family member testified. The witness is a relative of Charmaine Coveratry and Joyce Lynch, whose headless bodies were found inside their Lauriston home on July 20, 2011. The contents of her witness statement were accepted by prosecutors and lawyers for Sanjay Dokoli and Kemar Riley, the two men on trial for the killings. The witness recounted in the statement read out in court yesterday a conversation she had with Lynch on the morning of July 19, 2011. "I told her I received some information that people are planning to kill her and her mother and they should move," she indicated. According to the witness, Lynch relayed the message to her mother before giving an ominous response. Crystal said her mother said she had nowhere to go, and if a fear time, a fear time, the witness recounted to detectives, referring to Lynch by her pet name. A second family member gave evidence that she was with Coveratry and Lynch days before the killings. The woman said she visited Coveratry and Lynch on July 18, 2011, and spent the night before leaving the next day. She said on July 20, her boyfriend told her he was informed by a friend that the mother and daughter had been killed and that their heads could not be found. Fake cops murder man in St. James. A group of men impersonating police officers killed one man and allegedly shot at another in Paisley, Adelphi, St. James on Thursday. The victim has been identified as 26-year-old Jomoy Pinnock, a farmer in the district. Reports by the Adelphi police are that of about 4:30 a.m. on Thursday, Pinnock and his common-law wife were asleep in their home when they were awakened by knocking. The voices on the outside identified themselves as police officers. Before Pinnock and his common-law wife could react, men wearing masks and armed with high-powered weapons kicked open the door and held them at gunpoint. The woman was ordered to lie face down on the floor while the gunmen sprayed Pinnock with bullets, killing him on the spot. The men then robbed the woman of cell phones and other items before fleeing the scene. Later that morning, a 35-year-old maintenance worker was driving along the Paisley Main Road when he was fired upon by a group of armed men, believed to be the same group of police impersonators. The victim managed to drive to the Falmouth Hospital, where he was treated and admitted in serious but stable condition. "We never know so them something I could have reached a little community. Or they have him two in them a live for. Him are the breadwinner of him family, and him never deserve to dead like this," one of Pinnock's family members said. The sobbing woman inquired about the usefulness of the state of emergency since the bloodletting has not eased up. How would the police and the soldier them there when we need them? Especially when them say we under a state of emergency. Them heap of sense they's killing you have to stop you now, she cried. The latest murders increased the number of persons murdered in St. James to 129 since the start of the year. 62-year-old man killed in shootout with cops. Police investigators have identified one of two men who were fatally shot during a reported confrontation with police officers in Ochariah St. Anne on Sunday as an elderly man. The deceased has been identified as 62-year-old Michael Rowe of Great Pond in Ochariah. The police seized 3.38 revolvers, several rounds of ammunition, and a Toyota motor car which they believe may have been rented following the shootout in Friend Gully in Ochariah. Reports are that about 7 p.m., a police team was on patrol in Friend Gully when 4 men were seen standing near a motor car. Upon the approach of the law enforcers, it was reported that the men opened gunfire at them. The police then reportedly returned the fire and a shootout subsequently ensued. When the gunfire subsided, 2 men, including one later identified as Rowe, were found suffering from bullet wounds. They later died at the hospital. A search of the area was conducted for the other 2 men, but they escaped. Law enforcers are still searching for the men. Meanwhile, the Independent Commission of Investigations INDECOM has launched a probe into the incident and is appealing to members of the public to come forward with information that can assist their investigations. Motorist crashes in Spanish Town business place, dies. A man died of injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle collision along the Winters Pen Main Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, yesterday, Friday, November 8, the police say. Dead is 33-year-old Tyrone Riley, a laborer of Windsor Road, Spanish Town. Reports are that residents heard a loud impact about 3:15 a.m. and went to investigate. They reportedly observed that a Nissan Tida motor car had crashed into a business establishment. The police were summoned, and on the arrival of the lawmen, Riley was seen slumped over the steering wheel. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Shortage of dengue testing kits, but health minister says this is not a priority. Though there's been over 50 suspected dengue deaths for the 2018-2019 period, President of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA, Elon Thompson, has confirmed that there's a shortage of dengue testing kits on the island. There have been 5,468 reported cases of dengue in Jamaica since the start of the year. Thompson said he does not know if and when more kits will be restocked on the island. I would not know if there are kits coming in soon, and the authorities that we have asked about it have no clue. I don't know where they're sourced from. I don't know if it is that they're purchased through the Ministry of Health. I just know that all around the supply is limited, and it have to do with the number of cases that we're seeing. Maybe we have underestimated how many we would have needed. It is a problem though, I can tell you that, he said. However, Minister of Health, Dr. Christopher Tufton, stated he was told by the Chief Medical Officer that the kits are probably 30% accurate, so persons who suspect that they have dengue should seek the advice of a doctor. The kits are not a priority for us. It is not even recommended that it becomes an overly used or requested item. What is most important for us is that persons seek their doctors immediately, and that the doctor's assessment will determine immediate treatment, Tufton said. Tufton continued, we don't want the society or people to overplay the kits. What they need to do is to see the doctor and get the doctor's diagnosis and recommended treatment. It is the doctor's clinical diagnosis based on symptoms, rash, the fever, the headache that will require an immediate response. If you need to do a blood test to confirm which takes place, we do that, but the truth is, the safer way is to treat based on symptoms. The most important thing is for the patient to see a doctor as soon as possible if they have symptoms, because if they wait, it can get worse, Tufton said. St. Catherine educator to serve 8 years in prison for fraud. An educator for Spanish Town St. Catherine address is to serve 8 years in prison at hard labor after he was found guilty of obtaining money by false pretense and conspiracy. The man was identified as Clifton Thompson, otherwise called Domain Morgan, and K.D. Thompson Morgan, was arrested following investigations into a University of Technology Jamaica report that indicated that fees for several persons were being paid by means of fraudulent credit cards. The Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, said further investigations by its detectives revealed that Thompson had several credit card numbers, names, and CVV card numbers of people who reside overseas. He was later arrested, charged, and placed before the court. The matter was tried in the Home Circuit Court, and Thompson found guilty of the charges. MOCA said a report that was submitted during the sentencing hearing indicated that Thompson had 54 previous convictions for similar offenses. He was subsequently sentenced on Thursday, October 3. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.